When you're looking for Whirlpool innovation and quality, who has the answers, the selection, the price? Ventura TV Appliance. With billions in nationwide appliance buying power, more than Home Depot and Best Buy combined, we'll help you save. Our low prices on ENERGY STAR qualified Whirlpool appliances save you energy and money and pay no interest on select models when paid in full within 12 months. Ventura TV Appliance, serving you since 1951.
I'm John Mellis, and welcome to this live edition of Connect with Me on the showroom floor at Ventura TV on this Friday morning, and a very special morning it is going to be, because we're going to be talking about the wonder and the gem of Fresno, the Warner's Theater. We have the one and only Sally Caglia in our studio today. Your phone calls are important. 436-MeTV, hit option 11. Don't wait through the message. This is a landmark, ladies and gentlemen, a gem, the prime place in Fresno to take your kids to see a historical place. Back with our show in just a moment.
Tonight I want to discuss the importance of the television medium to the American people.
Glad to have you along for the ride here on the Friday morning on the showroom floor at Ventura TV. Once again, I'm very pleased to have our guest in today, Sally Caglia, talking about, hey, this place is a national historic landmark that we're talking about the Warner's Theater. And you know, I don't know if you've ever heard of this place called the Houston Astrodome. It was built back in 1965. They called this thing the eighth wonder of the world. And if that's the eighth wonder of the world, I'm just trying to think what the Warner's Theater would be. Maybe the ninth wonder of the world, maybe the 10th wonder of the world. I would tend to think so, because it really is a thing of beauty. I want to go to the videotape and show you exactly what I'm talking about. It is the Warner's Theater. It was built back in 1928 by Alexander Pantages. He was an immigrant from Greece who became one of the most prominent managers of vaudeville entertainment and a renowned theater magnate, my friends. Now, this is the outside of the building, located at Fulton and Tuolumne. You know it well. It takes up an entire quarter city block. The architecture is simply beautiful, a blend of Spanish and Italian Renaissance with an incredible eye-catching detail like the corner tower, the colored brick, the tile. Hey, even the ticket booth outside is amazing. Now, inside, the amazement continues from the elegant lobby to the main auditorium, which engulfs several rooms and sits under that single suspended ceiling dome that is simply awesome. Now, all of the beams for the dome are highlighted through cove lighting all around it. And then there is the world-famous pipe organ, the organ well, the curtains, the dressing rooms, the projection booths, and all the rest. In 1929, the theater was bought by Warner Brothers, and over the years, it's been used as a movie theater, vaudeville house, concert hall, graduation, and a wedding venue. 1973, circa, Frank Caglia entered the picture. He bought it, tried to save this thing from demolition because the city was going to turn it into a parking lot. It is now a 501c3, and live in our studio right now is Sally Caglia. She is one of the ones who sits on the board of directors and wants to upgrade this facility. It is the Warner's Theater. It is a gem. It is a landmark, a national historic landmark. You should go down and see it, maybe take it in an event or two. 436-MeTV, option 11 is the phone number. We're going to be back with our special guest and an inside look, an in-depth look at the Warner's Theater. Back in a moment.
Now, why don't you tell us the whole story right from the beginning? All right, from the beginning. This is the city, Los Angeles, California. My name's Friday. I carry a badge. Police officers.
You any idea who the other man was?
My partner's Bill Gannon.
Program?
We got just one big question.
Yeah.
When?
Now on MeTV Fresno, Xfinity 187.
We're talking with Sally Caglia today. We're talking about the Warner's Theater. And Sally, it's good to have you. You look lovely, my dear.
Thank you.
You
Pleasure
look
being here.
great.
Thank you for the invitation.
Oh, well, thank you for coming. Thank you for taking the time. Inside, it's a very elegant lobby, and you go inside, and there's this single suspended ceiling dome. There's the lobby right there. Sally, go ahead and talk about that a little bit if you can.
One of the things that we're hoping to do is to replace the current concession counter, because that's not the original.
Oh, it's not?
It's not, no.
Oh, okay.
We do have some old pictures that we've managed to secure out of the Historical Theater Society in Milwaukee, and we're hoping to replicate what was in there before.
Okay, I want to move you in here because you're drifting back that way. That's okay, no problem. Now, Alexander Pantages obviously built this thing in 1928.
Right.
Okay, it was sold to Warner Brothers a year later. Why?
Well, Alexander Pantages was, I guess he overbuilt and got in a little bit of financial straits, and it was at a time when Warner Brothers was just emerging with their talkie movies, because Warner's was built for silent movies and vaudeville.
Oh.
And Warner's was coming out with all of their talkie movies, and it was to their benefit to purchase Alexander Pantages' theater so they would have an outlet for their emerging
and
movies.
Warner's hung on to this thing for years, right?
Oh, absolutely. They had it until it was the early 60s, or late 50s or early 60s, and there was another interim company that took it over from Warner Brothers, and ran it for a very short period. And unfortunately, that period was during the time of the Fulton Mall construction. Needless to say, a lot of people were not downtown at that time and were going to the theaters and the shopping centers, so business was declining for them, and so they gave it to the city of Fresno.
Okay, so then Warner Brothers held on to it for a long time.
Very long
many
time.
Years, decades,
Yes. Decades, absolutely.
Until
from the late 20s, 29, 30s, until early 60.
Yeah, well, 1973, I believe, is the year that Frank Caglia purchased the property.
That is correct. The city of Fresno, once they had it, it sat vacant for 5 years. And in order to encourage people to come back downtown, because once the mall was built and the fanfare kind of died down, people started going to Manchester. And, of course, Fashion Fair was being built at the time, so people started going to the shopping centers and not coming downtown. So the city at the time thought, well, let's tear that building down that we own and build a parking garage so people will have some place to park to come to Fulton Mall.
So they wanted to tear that building down and build a parking garage.
Yes. Thank God there was enough historical preservation-minded citizens in Fresno that
like
said,
Frank.
Well, my dad was one of them, said, you cannot tear that building down. It's just too special.
Yeah.
And so the city said, fine, we'll put it up for auction and let some pigeon have it.
Yeah.
Well, that pigeon happened to be one of the first patrons in line on opening day in 1928, who was my dad.
Right.
So he did not personally participate in the auction. He had a friend that fronted it for him.
But in 1973, he purchased it.
Yes, he did.
Okay, and then he hung on to it until when? 2000 and what?
He hung on to it in 2005, he started entertaining the idea of it becoming a nonprofit, and in 2006 he donated it to a nonprofit corporation.
And so the city of Fresno owns it now with a board of directors?
No, the city does not own it.
Oh,
the foundation.
The foundation
The
owns
Warner
it.
Center for the Performing Arts Foundation owns it.
Okay.
And it's ran by a board of directors with executive director for the management and staff.
So it's a 501c3.
It's a 501c3, and it belongs to the city of Fresno.
And you
the
sit on the
people
board.
of Fresno.
You sit on the board.
Yeah, they invited me to be on the board just because I'm the mouthpiece.
No, you're the iron fist, because without you and your father, this thing would be demolished.
Well, there's a lot of people that have put in and care immensely for the building.
No. You got to give yourself some credit. You're the driving force behind this
wow.
thing.
I do.
And we appreciate you very much.
Thank you.
And we
I do
appreciate
have
you being here, too. We are going to take a phone call. Good morning. You're on with Sally Caglia. What's your question?
Comment first. Fascinating topic. Not enough said about it. It's great. My question is, if Frank was alive today, Sally, your guest, would he be in favor of restoring vehicular traffic to the Fulton Thruway, eliminating the pedestrian mall? That's my question.
Absolutely, he would be in favor of the Fulton Mall being open to traffic.
Well,
I
they got
won't
16 million bucks, so,
I
you know.
won't repeat what he said about the mall going in to begin with. So,
Right. By the way, we've been talking about Frank Caglia this whole time. We do have a photo of him. Can we put that up, please? There he is, right there. That's your father. Of course, he passed away sadly in 2007.
at 95 years old,
At
bless his heart.
95 years young.
Yes,
He was a young man.
he was. He was.
At heart.
And he loved Fresno.
You know, I know they're telling me to go to break, but I want to show at least one of these videos. I want to talk about this suspended ceiling. Let's
Okay.
go to the videotape and there it is. It's a thing of beauty. Go ahead and talk close to the
Okay.
mic. Don't drift away, and just look up there and talk about what we're looking at.
What
Give
you're
us the
looking-
history of the ceiling.
Well, the ceiling, number one, is conical shape so that it picks up the sound that radiates from the organ pit,
Right.
and bathes the audience in sound. That's part of the beauty of the dome.
So with that, so let me
Secondly,
explain.
it's
Let me
suspended.
understand this. So the sound kind of bounces off of there,
Yes, it fills and just bathes the audience in the sound.
and it just kind of spreads out throughout the whole theater. Is what you're saying.
There was an architectural reason for the structure of that.
Oh.
And it's totally suspended. You can completely walk all the way around. The gold frame that
Rim.
you see there, the
Yeah.
rim of it, is you completely walk around that. You can walk across the top of it, which is absolutely necessary in order to change the 1,800 light bulbs that are in it.
Now you get up there and change them personally, I heard. Is that true?
No, I'm afraid not. But my cousin Michael Caglia does. Yeah.
I'm scared of heights. I couldn't do it. So count me out.
Also, the chandelier in the middle is originally it was on a hand crank chain, and
Okay.
when the theater was purchased in '73,
Okay.
it was converted to a chain motor so that the chandelier can be dropped down to the top of the seat so that the fixtures can be cleaned and the light bulbs
We'll turn you back
changed.
around. Now, it's all original, right?
It's all original, absolutely. There's been
Yeah.
no alterations and adaptations or anything to the theater.
Right. And
One
so
of the things that needs to be done is we need to bring it technologically up to the 21st century.
okay, but that takes money
That
and that
takes
takes
lots of money,
time.
yes.
It takes time. And one more piece of video before we go to break. I want to show the organ well because you mentioned the organ well.
yes.
This thing goes down, please, and then it will rise again. That's the organ well. It's amazing. Talk about that.
Is
Is it like one of a kind?
It
Unique?
is. The Warner's Theater's Robert Morton pipe organ is the last of its size, its manufacture, its voicing, and its ranks left in continuous operation and in its original installation left in the United States.
It's the only one left?
It's the only one left of its
Of its
complete
kind.
that's right, of its kind. It's the last one in its original installation. There are other Robert Morton pipe organs that are in department stores or baseball
Right,
stadiums,
right.
but this is the only one in its original installation with its original
Which was
content.
what year?
1928.
Oh, so it's as old as the building.
Yeah, well, it was manufactured specifically for this building.
Oh.
Yeah, it was designed and manufactured explicitly for Warner's Theater.
So look at that's a thing of beauty, Sally. Thing of beauty.
Yes,
and
it
I
is.
know I've been in there. It sounds
It's wonderful.
You know,
and
it
it's
sounds-
lovingly cared for also.
You know, I hate to say that, but it sounds almost when you go in there and you hear the organ, it sounds like a Boris Karloff movie is about to appear on the
Well,
screen.
funny you should mention that. We're going to be starting silent movies with the pipe organ.
Really?
Right. In
Yeah.
I think September 26th will be our first silent movie that we're going to start a series. So call the box office if you want some information on that.
All right. Your phone calls are important here. Talk to Sally Caglia. Saving a piece of history. That's important to the city of Fresno. And certainly the Warner's Theater is a piece of history. It's a historical, national landmark. And it was featured on Huell Hauser on PBS, about 2006. Don't know if you saw that, but you can maybe catch that online.
From the pages of history and the untamed prairies of a young nation comes one of television's and America's most memorable folk heroes.
Was a man, yes, a big man.
Well, you're Daniel Boone.
Yep. Fess Parker stars as the legendary Daniel Boone, with Ed Ames as his trusty sidekick, Mingo.
Pleasure indeed.
A Kentuckian named Daniel Boone.
That's me.
Watch Daniel Boone weekday mornings at 9, 8 Central on MeTV.
We're back here on Connect with Me, talking about the Warner's Theater, a landmark here in the city of Fresno, and Sally Caglia is with us. You know, I want to talk about this next piece of video. Let's turn around and look at it's the substage. It's underneath. This is what holds the stage up. Is that correct?
No. That's
it's
underneath.
not?
No, that's the underneath the flooring where the seats are.
Oh, I got you.
And the there's a door right there that leads into the pipe organ chamber. That's where
the hydraulics are.
Where all the hydraulics are, and you can see the cables that are coming down from it. It's obviously in a lifted position.
Right.
This
is what controls the organ.
This is what controls the organ.
Up and down.
Correct. Controls the organ. Not only that, but also the cables go from the keys to the contact room.
Let's take a call here real quick. You're on with Sally Caglia. Good morning. What's your question?
Yes, during the early 60s, we used to go to one theater to watch movies, Western movies, for 15 minutes every weekend. The last time I was at the one theater was they had Boys Call Out movies. I think it was called Thrillers. That's the last time I've been there. That was about 1963 or 64, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Yeah, well, maybe you can talk a little bit about the silent movies that took place there.
Oh, in this...
The Boris Karloff movies. He was talking about Boris Karloff movies, too.
Gosh, 1960, I remember going to the theater for movies.
But you were like 5 years old.
Yeah, I was just a kid then.
Yeah.
No, I was in high school, but I remember Boris Karloff and movies being there, but I don't recollect seeing those.
Yeah.
But I know that there was just a plethora of movies that had
they first started out with silent movies and came in sound, and then obviously some of the great, and I keep mentioning I love his movies. I love Boris Karloff. They're just chilling, bone-chilling type movies.
Well, we'll have to get you a Boris Karloff movie in there then.
Yeah, maybe this weekend I'll get one on Netflix or something.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Okay.
Anyway, another piece of video, backstage video at the Warner's Theater. What are we looking at here?
Well, that's the backstage with the back curtain.
Mm-hmm. Anything significant about the curtain? Does it date back to 28 too?
No, I don't think it goes back that far.
Okay.
But I would guess that it's at least 40 years old. You're looking up into the proscenium up above the stage where all of the rails are for hanging props and such. It's still operated by cables rather than computer like a lot of your modern stages are.
It's still
you
really?
Still have to use
by
hand and put a lock in it to pull curtains and such up and down.
Can one person do it? Or
Yes,
does it take several?
No, well, it all depends on the production. If you've got a major stage play on there, it'll take at least two people. But generally, it's just one person that does it. You're looking at the original control board, and they call that a piano board. That's what it's referred to.
Oh.
And it still works, and it's one of the last left in a theater in California.
Wow.
Still functioning.
Okay, well, we're going to stay with the video here, and you're going to explain what we're looking at there.
You can see over in the corner there where the telephone, where they used to talk to the projection room, or the spotlights up in the projection room, or communicate with the box office or what have you. Those are still in the theater.
Right, and exit to house right. You can see a plug
there. Yeah, there's
there
a stairwell that you can leave the stage and go into the audience.
Right, and the dressing rooms are right nearby.
Oh, the dressing rooms are right underneath the stage.
Right, and
you just go down backstage and you're in.
You go down the stairway.
Yeah, there's 14 dressing rooms.
See, there you go.
Yeah.
2 dressing rooms. You just go downstairs, and that's. So talk about some of the famous names that have actually used these dressing rooms here. Do you know?
There's the dressing rooms. That's underneath the stage.
How many dressing rooms altogether?
There's 14 altogether.
Okay, all right, 14.
And with 2 star rooms that have, walls with mirrors
Give us
and lights.
some famous names
that
you
my
can think
gosh.
of. Just anybody. Toss them out there.
A lot of the Warner Brothers movie stars would be in Fresno and stay at the Hotel Fresno and then make appearances for the premiere of their movies. Yeah, this is one of the dressing rooms.
Yeah.
Gosh, we've had Garth Brooks, Miles Davis, David Brubeck, Buddy Ebsen. I mean, you really threw me a curve there.
I'm sorry.
It's difficult to remember all of them.
It's
but
okay.
we've
I
had,
know on the spot like this,
yeah,
it's like hard to. But those are big names.
One of the big ones was Johnny Mathis about 2 years ago that Grand Opera brought. That's
right. And you know that
Audra McDonald.
Yes, Audra McDonald. I was going to mention that because the Fresno Grand Opera people were here, Ron Eichman and T. Wind. They were here yesterday talking about that, and they were talking about the productions that they did over at the Warners.
Right.
The Fresno Grand Opera,
we've
great,
been very blessed
great organization.
We've been very blessed to partner with them on some of the performances. So, yeah, there's just, I can't remember all of them. Leontine Price at one time sung on the stage.
Right.
The Cincinnati Symphony performed there. The San Francisco Symphony performed there. The Fresno Music Club back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s had famous artists from all over the world perform.
The acoustics there
are
perfect.
They're very good, yes.
Yeah.
They could use a little updating now because of the demand for pristine sound in older buildings. But all in all, the acoustics, you can stand on the stage and I could talk to you up in the balcony and we can carry on a conversation.
Normal.
Don't
have to yell.
You don't have to yell.
No megaphone.
No. And that has to do with that concave dome ceiling.
Yeah, the dome ceiling.
That helps.
Yeah, because the sound, again, that dome ceiling, it bounces off there and spreads the sound out throughout the entire, just floods the entire
and the balcony
auditorium.
is usually the best sound area in the theater.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so you could talk like this and still hear me.
A little louder.
A little louder, but almost. Very close, right?
Yeah.
All right. I'm so glad to have you here, Sally Caglia, and she sits on the board of directors, the Warner's Theater. It's a national historic landmark. It's worth saving, worth preserving. Not only that, it's worth the upgrade, to do all the current upgrades that it needs to get up to code, up to standard, today's musical standards anyway, and theatrical standards. Anyway, we're back with our show, and maybe some more of your phone calls in just a moment.
Frigidaire. We introduced the first home freezer, the first pulsator agitator washer, and now we introduce the Frigidaire Orbit Clean dishwasher, designed with a unique wash arm that gives you 4 times more water coverage for a consistently better clean. Frigidaire, over 90 years of legendary innovation.
See the full line of Frigidaire appliances at Ventura TV Electronics and Appliances.
Glad to be talking about the Warner's Theater here in the city of Fresno. It's a historical place, there's no doubt about it. And I want to talk about the projection booth. We've got some video of that too, and maybe you can tell us, the historical significance of this area here.
The projection booth looks almost as it did when the doors were closed in about 1968. There's been some venting that's been installed, but the original, those are not the original projectors. Those came in, I think, in the early 40s. But they're still in their place, looking out to be able to run movies. They are unoperable because they've sat so long and need to be completely refurbished.
Right.
But essentially, the splicing table, the reels that are stored underneath, they're all still there.
Wow. So with a little refurbishing, these projectors will in fact work. Yeah.
Right. You can see the splicing machines and all that they used, and there's reels in there. That's the original projection room, and it's our dream someday to restore it.
Sally, I don't want to throw you a curve here, but what do you think it would take to bring this entire building up to current theatrical, musical type entertainment standards of today's world?
Just to do the technological, computerized things for the stage, sound, lighting, you're probably looking at about $20 million just in that alone.
Okay, is there any chance that you and the board of directors could possibly raise that money? Or?
Well, we're hoping by making the community aware that this is their theater, that they will step forward and help us reach those goals. We're going to begin a capital campaign program for that purpose.
When?
Well, we're hoping to kick it off in November. We're still putting the final touches on it. It needs new carpet. We occasionally get complaints about the seats, even though they're more comfortable than some seats in Europe theaters.
What's wrong with the seats?
Well, they just need to be
old?
They are old, and the intention is not taking them out and replacing them. The intention is just restoring the seats and backs, but keeping the original hard
frame.
The frames, yes, to keep the integrity of the building, because that's one of the things that we've prided ourselves on, is historically maintaining the integrity of that building.
So if people want to help out, where can they call? Can they call you?
They can call the Warner Center for the Performing Arts.
Which is, do you know the number? I'm
yes,
sorry.
It's 559-264-2848.
One more time.
559-264-2848, or they can go online, warners.org. There's a donation button there, or they can send an email inquiring, and volunteer work. Folks that can do specialized things like mechanics and painting or woodwork that would like to donate their time or be involved in our volunteer program, we'd love to hear from them.
Right. And now when does this campaign start, Sally?
Well, we're hoping to kick it off in November. We're still putting the final...
okay.
Yeah, we're putting the final touches on
What
it right
kind
now.
of promotion will you be doing for this?
Well, anything
How will you
and
promote
everything.
it? TV, radio?
TV, radio, online,
Okay.
Facebook, Twitter.
Right.
The whole social gamut is what we're finalizing the details on.
What if somebody were to say, all right, so you want to save the theater, why? Why is it worth saving, in your opinion?
Well, for one, there aren't many buildings left like that, especially in California.
I want to put an old photo up as you continue that thought.
The architecture on it is so distinctive and unique. The fact that it is still in excellent condition for 84 years old and able to still, host
Look at that.
plays, programming, concerts.
Look at the cars in that photo. I don't know what circa that is, but
that's 1928. That was when
That
it was
is?
opened. You can see the bouquet of flowers hanging from the ceiling and the banners. Fresno went all out in celebrating the opening of that, because that was like a cornerstone building for downtown Fresno, and it
Yeah.
still is.
Yeah.
It's a cornerstone there to Tuolumne and Fulton Street.
Obviously, there were a few Model Ts in that picture somewhere.
Yes.
Amazing, amazing. And let's see, we got 2 minutes left here. And some of the articles. Look at this: Pantages buys Fulton Street Theater. This is an article from like 1928. Sally,
I think he paid $41,000 for the corner.
Oh, amazing! And here's one: the story of Alexander Pantages. I've got this right here. And look at this, a headline, really. Theater once hosted 20s World Dance Marathon. I caught that headline. You probably can't see it too well because it's kind of washed
July.
out.
What's the date on that?
I'm not sure. My eyes are not too good.
July 1981.
Yeah, okay.
Is when that was printed in the Fresno Bee.
I mean, look at this one from the 1930s. What a movie palace. It rained in 1930s. In the 1930s, it was.
It was a spectacular place for people to escape the depression at that time. 29, the stock market crashed. A lot of people had lost everything. There were no jobs. The only place to escape into a fantasy world was in a building like this, and there was nothing like it in the valley.
Fascinating, just absolutely fascinating. And so, how much time we got left, guys? How much time?
1 minute.
We got 1 minute. Sally, I've got to do a little promo here, but at some point, would you come back?
I would love to.
Because we enjoyed having you. You're such a pleasant person, and we want to help you out with this thing.
Okay.
We want to help save the Warner Theater. We want to help the upgrade.
It's been saved. Now we need to restore it and upgrade it and bring it to the 21st century.
Yeah, it's been saved, but I don't want it just sitting there. It's got to be used.
Oh, well, it's used. We have 20 events booked in there this month.
Okay, but we need the upgrades.
Yes, we do. And especially if the mall gets open, we're looking at the Warner Theater becoming the city's living room.
You're the sweetest person. Thank you. Thank you.
you
Sally
very
Caglia,
much.
come back again. I want to talk about an event that's going to take place tomorrow morning. That would be Saturday. Put the picture up. It is an airplane that was used during World War II. It's the Piper L4 Grasshopper. You want to find out what this plane was used for. It's not a bomber plane. No, but it was used during World War II. Go to Sky Park in Northwest Fresno tomorrow morning at 9. They'll have all kinds of speakers, including our friend Doug Betts. Tomorrow morning at 9 at Sky Park on Herndon near Blythe. That's going to do it for us. Our thanks again to Sally Caglia from the Warner's Theater. She did a terrific job, and what video, what a theater. Got to save that thing and do the upgrades. Back on Monday with Dennis Hart. Have a wonderful weekend.
When you're looking for KitchenAid innovation and quality, who has the answers, the selection, the price? Ventura TV Appliance. With billions in nationwide appliance buying power, more than Home Depot and Best Buy combined, will help you save. Our low prices on Energy Star qualified KitchenAid appliances save you energy and money, and pay no interest on select models when paid in full within 12 months. Ventura TV Appliance, serving you since 1951.